What's up, everybody? This is Stop Mixtape, El Sonido Sancocho. Today we're celebrating Dominican artists, people who are doing music out of Dominican Republic or Dominicans out in the universe. And one of these people is has this album called Tropezando that I've just discovered recently in this past week doing a search for new artists, and I'm just completely mesmerized by her voice and her songwriting style. And I'm not going to say anything else. Aquí está Gaby de los Santos. Bienvenidos, Gaby.
Hi, I'm so flattered with what you just said. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for being on board. It's been such a nice surprise to come across a lot of these different artists, and also more importantly to find that people are connected. You know, because I found you through somebody else and then somebody else, and it was just like, wow, you know.
Yes.
So how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm barely awake. I'm getting there, but let's talk about this album. I mean, you've been performing desde el como 2015, 14, que
Yes. Yeah, I've been performing since about that time. But my songs, like my songwriting and song style has just been, how can I say it? I just found myself. I was before then I was just writing and I can't really say that I felt comfortable with what I was doing until I got to Tropezando, because I feel like I found my sound. I found a team that understood what I wanted to convey. So I'm really happy with the result I've gotten just like recently in November, which was when we released the album.
That's great. So do you recall any particular steps along the way that made you go, oh, esto aquí, oh, this is me, and this is, you know, do you remember anything specific or?
Yes. When I started writing, I first was doing it for like therapeutically. I found release in songwriting and in singing along in my room. And yeah, that was comfortable for me. But I never made it to like listen to myself. I just expressed myself. And a friend of mine got me to sing in concerts and perform live and stuff. And I started doing this, but I was like, well, this is not what I really feel like describes me and a sound I feel comfortable with. So I started like putting together some of my influences, my musical influences, like the bands I listen to, and I started to look for a sound I felt more comfortable with. And because before then I was just working with guitar and voice, and that was it. I wasn't contemplating all the other band members, and it's difficult to get to that sound when you don't know how to work with drums. You don't know how they work. You don't know you can't tell the drummer like, okay, I want you to use more hi-hat. You can't, because you know. And I was like, you just go it was so hard
No,
for me.
espérate, no tactita, dale,
It's super hard. And so I started to get familiarized with these terms. I started using Logic and Ableton and well, Ableton just recently. Okay. I recently. And it was in order to understand how everything worked. And along the way, I met a really good friend of mine. His name is Surya Cabral. And he was the first person who understood my, how do you say, onomatopeya? And I could go, okay, so here are the bands I like, and I would like my drums to sound like these, but my guitars to sound like these. And he was like, okay, so when you say it's that you want the hi-hat to like close, and I'm like, yes, it's like so that was like the moment where I started to get into that shape that I could say, okay, this is what I want to sound like. And with a lot of work, it took us like around a year of rehearsing without playing anywhere. My band members were like, are we ever gonna play anywhere? And I'm like, no, no. This is just so we can get on the same page, because everybody came from different genres. There were some that were used to Latin, some were more used to rock, which was where I wanted to get. But since I had been playing acoustically, and everybody before then associated me with more, it was like fusion. I don't
Okay.
know. I didn't want to jump into the rock that I like
Yeah.
so suddenly. So this album, Tropezando, was like a transition.
It's a step.
Yeah,
Paso
and
más
yeah,
cerca.
exactamente. And it took us a lot of rehearsing, and it took my bandmates, which are friends, really close friends of mine, a lot of patience with me, because I was just like, okay, this rehearsal was good, but this is not what I want. And but we eventually got there. They understood me eventually, and they were. It's I feel very honored to work with such talented people, because they let go of their influences to try and get on the same wave I was in, and I feel like we accomplished that on 2009. I think that was the year where I can say that I worked and got to where I wanted. And then we recorded the album, which came out last year. We didn't get to play it, so it was really ironic, because we spent all this time rehearsing and we
Your
never got to
your
play live.
bandmates love you. They
They
love you.
probably forgot the songs, and they haven't seen me in over a year. So it was very ironic, because every time we got a chance to play last year, they called us for different gigs online, but I couldn't get together physically because of health problems.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like, COVID, I can't really risk it. And they were like, Gabby, all this rehearsing for nothing. But
It's like
it's
un paso
fine.
para adelante y tres pasos para atrás. So you're back to
Yeah.
playing acoustic by yourself.
Yeah, yes and no, because I started practicing like where I wanted to get to on Ableton, which is my recent
Nice.
discovery, and now I'm trying to to change everything again, so they're not going to be so happy because everything is coming. I have songs. I'm going to release one. I think it's going to be in March. I'm not 100% sure, but this one is it's so funny because it's not even the rock I want to get to, but it has, I don't know, I'm just exploring, but it's different from what we did in the last album. So they're going to be like, where are we, Gabby? But it doesn't matter. And my plan is to get everything in shape in Ableton so I can give it to them. So it's like, listen to this and tell me what you think about this, and then let's play this.
Yes.
Yeah, well, just I think everything will just work itself out. And like I said, they're very talented. They like music in general. They've never they voluntarily played with me. They're like, we want to play with you in your band. And I'm like, yay, thank you. So it's a fun process, even though it's hard. I know I'm a hard person to work with, but I'm trying to learn, as everyone should. So as to make it easier for you know for everything to be, I don't know, to
you're
flow.
you're you're an artist, and you sometimes, we don't know what we want, but we know what we don't want, and
Exactly.
we have to we have to work our way there. Let me play the song Mentira from this album, well, not this album, but from ¿cómo se llama el álbum de nuevo? Se
Yeah,
me olvidó.
tropezando.
Oh, Tropezando. Hablando de Tropezando. Here's Mentira, and we'll come back and talk about it. Truck Stop Mixtape. Ay.
maquilla tu expresión, oculta el adiós. Cántale de tu amor, que recuerde tu voz. Siente bien el momento que oculta un adiós, pero tú serás culpable del dolor. También serás el cobarde que huyó. Lo peor será que no serás quien sintió. Lo peor será que no serás quien sintió. Miéntele y otra vez contén el temblor. Bésale, ámale lo que dure este adiós, pero tú serás culpable del dolor. También serás el cobarde que huyó. Lo peor será que no serás quien sintió. Lo peor será que no serás quien sintió. Mancharás el pasado de terror. Tú serás el cobarde que huyó. Lo peor será que no habrá un perdón. Lo peor será que no sabrá que fue un adiós. Y lo peor será que no serás quien sintió.
All right, that was Mentira. So, Gabby, tell me about this song, Mentira.
This song was the first single we released from Tropezando, because that was another funny part. My plan was just to get everything out there, and everyone who I considered an advisor and in the music industry, because I'm not good at that. They're like, okay, you have to release the songs, some of them by singles, as to create expectation. And I'm like, no. But well, whatever. We chose Mentira because it was the most digestible, like
Más
the
fácil de consumir, como
exacto, era como la más pop, but it's not really pop.
it's still not pop. It's just easy.
It's easy listening, and yeah, I haven't spoken in English in so long. It's like let's go back.
This is you can speak in any language you want. So lo que te salga, más fácil.
No, it's fine. English is fine, and it's good for practice. But it's just I feel like I'm a horrible. But yeah, we decided to go with Mentira because of the easy listening part, and because it was we put it into we submitted all the songs into vote, so
Yeah.
basically that one won. And yeah, it's about really unmasking yourself and figuring out what it is you want in order to not hurt the people around you, and not lie about it, not pull anybody along any mind game you're playing. And
It sounds a lot like your relationship with your band members.
Don't play with me. but oh no, my guitar it almost. But it isn't. I actually wrote it from me to me.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was like, okay, figure out what it is you want in life, and don't lie to yourself. Don't pretend you want to strive towards this career or this relationship or this lifestyle. Just sit down, really figure yourself out before involving anybody else in your plans or in your, I don't know, in your life, basically. So it was an exercise I did. And this is why I say music is so therapeutic to me, because I don't really know how I feel or what I want. And magically, when I'm writing, when I'm singing, it just comes out. It blurts out. I start just playing the guitar.
Do you ever find that sometimes that you don't even know until it's done?
Yes, exactly. That happens so much. Most of the things I feel and I'm able to translate to anybody come out in songs, and I'm like, oh, so this is what you really want. And they're pretty dark
like,
songs.
It's like, Gabby, what do you want for Christmas? And you're like, espérate. Bring your guitar, start playing a little song.
Dame 13 guitarras, okay. but yeah, it's hard for me to share my music because of that, because they come out so personal, and I feel, the cliche, I feel naked when I sing. Yeah. And I don't know if I want to let some people in that much, but eventually it gets easier, because at first, when I started acoustically alone to perform my songs, it was very hard. But some people approached me and they're like, "Oh, this song is really about tra la 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 la," and I'm like, "Yes, I tried to hide it so well, but yes." And we made like these connections that made me feel I'm not alone, and I'm not. Everybody has this egotistic feel about themselves, like I'm an individual, this only happens to me, I'm the center of the universe, and you lose that. And it's so cool, because you feel so much more engagement with everything around you. Nobody is alien to what you're feeling or what can happen to you. And
it's a good reminder that basically, if you want to connect to more people, you really need to connect to yourself.
Yes, so much. And it's what I've been also trying to do now in this quarantine phase of life. I started eating better, exercising, and cleansing my mind, and finding out what is the meaning of everything, which we'll never really know. But and I tried it. What is that? What is tried it? I was trying, I love it. I tried it. But I tried writing some more happy songs, because most of my songs came out dark, as much as I wanted them to come out shiny, happy people. They weren't. And the song I'm about to release on Spring, the lyrics are really happy, but the music, it's still dark. It's dark, and it's like, why am I like this? But I made the exercise of exploring a happier side of myself, because you can get caught up in these I don't know, low feelings if you keep on feeding on them, if you keep on giving into them. So I'm like, okay, you've overcome so much, let's try and explore something positive, something that maybe doesn't have to bring everybody else down. Because I know if you see me play, it's probably gonna get you like, oh, why is everything so sad all of a sudden? and I don't always want that. And that's why I also wanted to implement the rock details in my music, because even though the lyrics, which I usually write, aren't as happy, because they also like fight social stigmas and stuff, the rock element gives you some pump to it. It's like, okay,
Yeah. Little bit of energy, a little bit of
yes.
energy. I want to talk real quick about this song that you did, Desahogo, because I listened to about 5 songs from the album and stuff, and but this song that you did recently, I just like, for some reason it really messed with me, and I want you to tell me what was the inspiration behind it.
Thank you so much for listening to it. Well, that song was basically to my boyfriend. It was for my boyfriend because we had just come into the COVID new reality, and I hadn't seen I see him, but I still see him so little, and I felt drained from I worked a lot on those few months of quarantine. I was like, okay, let's just keep busy, and I feel like I exploited myself, and I came up to a point where I didn't have any energy. I didn't want to do anything, and I just wanted to see my boyfriend. And I couldn't. And I couldn't see my friends. I couldn't do anything. And so that's where that song came from. I literally just started playing this chord. And then I just changed one note. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna put this finger here. And I'm just gonna start, I don't know, talking like everything else that comes up out in my songs. It's just I start playing anything and something comes out, and that's what came out in that song. It was just this feeling of tired in general about everything, and not being able to do anything about it, because that's how everybody, I guess, felt at the beginning. There was nothing you could do about it. It's like, if you're lonely, oh well. Too bad. And
this is a perfect song that describes that feeling, and I like the imagery behind it, with the, because it's basically a song about writing a song, and I love that idea, because you're really, like you said, you're talking about a relationship and missing someone and not being able to do what you want to do. Por si acaso, here is Desahogo, so you guys check it out and come up with your own ideas about it. Gaby de los Santos, Desahogo, Truck Stop Mixtape.
No me hacen falta más que 2 acordes en orden para escribirte una canción. Dosifico las notas, así no te agotas de escuchar mi voz un poco rota, y aún buscando tu atención. Lamento mi falta de creatividad, no haberte compuesto algo mejor. Lamento la cara que llevo colgada, pero abruma el temor. Perdona el momento, no es el mejor, pero es tanto lo que siento, y siento que es peor si lo dejo aquí adentro, donde sola estoy yo, donde solo estás tú.
Desahogo, Gaby de los Santos. Let's talk about, I'm doing the show, Truck Stop Mixtape, every week. There's a different theme, or sometimes it's not a theme. Maybe it's just a theme in my head. But this week, it's Dominican, and at first it was like Dominican alternative, and for me it's just Dominican artists, Dominican music, and people who are doing really cool things. And I just want to know from you, What do you think that your upbringing and your background and y tu vida allá en la República Dominicana, how does that affect the music that you make?
Well, I often question myself because with all this rich roots that I have, I don't express it musically at an instrument level, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have a lot to say with feminism. Some of my songs are really, 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 really leaning towards that because here in the Dominican Republic, there's still a lot of work to do with
Mm-hmm. As in the
towards
whole
that.
world, in the entire world.
Yes, yes, but I feel like we're a bit behind. Like just recently, the child marriage was banned recently. You know, it's
Yeah.
there's just too much. I don't even want to get into that because it stresses me out. But yes, and there's there's these. I feel like there's a lot of stuff a lot of stuff to say that hasn't been popularized or hasn't been um, since this is such a traditional culture. I feel like there's so much taboos to get rid
Mm-hmm.
of, so much uh, let's see, themes to touch, temas
Yeah.
a tocar.
Well, I mean,
And
this is where hopefully, I feel like newer artists and people who were creating music today can come in and be part of that evolution towards something
yes,
better, right? I mean, this is I feel like the fact that you recorded these songs and you said that they kind of they lean towards feminism, but I feel like it's still very personal, so it's more effective that way as opposed to being preachy about it. You're like very
yes,
talking about your own experiences, and I feel like that that's a good thing that you're there doing that.
I feel like it's important to do it in such way because, like I said, people here aren't that used or aren't that happy to listen to songs that are preachy. And like we were talking before, this is not alien to anybody. If you're born here, you know what I'm talking about. And I don't
Yeah.
have to say it like directly. I can just, um, decorate it and whatever, and you're still gonna get what I'm talking about. And it's gonna
Yeah.
bring up this feeling to fight it, to not be okay with injustice and with being less than or feeling less than anybody else. So I try to decorate it, and then everybody's like, "Oh, this is a love song," and I'm like, "No, it's not." But okay. And so yeah, I like to play a lot with that. I pretend I'm talking about something. I try after I write the song and what it's about. I try to shape it into being more friendly.
Yeah.
And but if you've shared the feeling, if you've shared the feeling, yes, you'll know what I'm talking about. And that's what I said earlier about when I perform and somebody approaches me and they're like, "Oh, this is really about that. Oh, I've been through this," and you create this feeling of of a safe space where you can come out and say what happened to you, and you create connections. Like for example, with me, if you just saw me playing, you're like, "Oh, this happened to me, and what did you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I did this," and you can do, "Oh, together we're better," and yeah. So I think I bring that to the Dominican scene, and I also feel like lately a lot of the bands that were performing as bands just get this feeling that reach they can't get to where they want to get here in the local
Mm-hmm.
market. And so I'm just like, okay, then let there be more of us. If there's more people doing this, we'll eventually make our own market and we'll will expose this side of the Dominican Republic that is not only, bachata, merengue, and all the traditional, dembow, which is good, is so good. Like,
No, I
I'm
mean,
not criticizing it.
that's the thing I've been have to clarify with some people. It's like, I'm not saying that the original stuff is amazing. It's really good. It's just that we need to kind of open the space up for other voices and other experiences. And like you said, that you're not necessarily, you don't draw so much from that musically. I'm still here. It's a camera. You don't draw from that musically that much. But it's something, those are tools that are available to you. And then once the more you keep on going deeper and deeper into the style of who you are, it's just like, who knows, there might be a Gaby de los Santos Dembo song, but watch out for the lyrics. Right? It's like, it's always going to be Gaby, and that's the cool thing. I'm glad that you're there, and I'm glad that you're doing it, and the world needs to know about you, and that's really cool. Two things before we go. Go ahead.
What? No, I was gonna say that the music I listen to is usually like dark, but it's like, you don't feel that down.
That's what I wanted to get to, actually. What you mentioned when you were talking about working with your bandmates, and now talking about the music that you listen to. What is the music that you listen to? What inspires you? What's the stuff that you like?
Well, my favorite band ever, everybody's tired of hearing me say it, it's Radiohead. I love Radiohead so bad. So bad. And Tom York is always like, I'm dark. But there are these songs, like, you can listen to a piece of work, like to a production, an album, and he gets these highs and lows while still conveying what he wants to say. If it's like a sad or social, social criticism, as he usually is doing, it still gets you pumped, and it doesn't make you, and even if the song is like at a low point, everybody still, he creates that engagement, and that's where I want to get. I want my concerts to be this experience where if I'm at a low point at energy level, everybody's still engaged, and then I don't know. That's what I most like about them, and him, because Tom York, aside from Radiohead, is like my biggest idol, because he creates his voice, everything. He just creates this engagement with me, because I know some people don't like it. I don't know which people. I don't hang out with those kinds of people, but I know that happens. And I also like Incubus a lot, but
nice.
In the early stages, not so much the new. No.
So early. I love that pronunciation. Incubus.
And Cabas. But yeah, I like them a lot. I like Grizzly Bear.
Oh, nice. So I like Grizzly Bear.
Grizzly Bear. They're so good. Let's see. I also in songwriting, I like, there's this guy called Cicero. He's from Brazil. He's my favorite, like, solista, I think I would say. He's very minimalist in what he does, and he fusions a lot of things. I think he like kind of worked out his own style, and I really admire that about him. And the fact that I don't understand Portuguese, but I connect, and I'm like, I think he's talking about this. And then I look it up, I translate it, and it's like, oh, he was talking about this. And yeah, I like him a lot. I also like Lian La Havas.
Oh, yes, yeah.
She's so good, so mellow. I love her so much. Yeah. Regina Spektor. I like people who sing like a lot. Like they have a lot to say in little time. They're like.
Yeah, no, but there's something. There's a string that kind of puts them together where they're very emotive in their vocals. Yes. They express a lot through the vocals.
Yes.
What's next for you besides the single that you might release in March?
Well, I've been working. I have a whole album set up which I was planning to work on this year, but since we haven't gotten to rehearse it as much as I like to rehearse it, I probably won't be releasing it the whole production this year. But I've been working on the songs to release some as singles. I've been also talking about collaborations with some friends. There's one that we already recorded, which I'm not allowed to talk about.
Top secret.
Yeah, but it'll come out this year. And there's collaborations, and I'm gonna keep releasing singles, which I'll be working from the comfort of my home due to the lack of resources and money. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
I know you will. I know you will. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you something, and you can say no because I'm just saying, because I heard you stumble before where you almost knocked down your guitar like a little bit ago. So it means to me that you have a guitar nearby, and
maybe.
Would you mind playing a song?
Which one? Do you have a preference in mind?
Whichever you want. We heard Mendina, we heard this algo. So anything else?
Okay, I'm gonna play a bit of the song
Yeah.
that I'm going to release, which I haven't played anywhere else before. And
Sneak
you'll see
preview.
why I say that yes, it's super sneaky, super secret, and you'll see why the lyrics, well, if you know Spanish, if anybody here knows Spanish, the lyrics they're happy. If you separate everything, the lyrics are happy, and the song is not so much. ¿De cuántas formas se puede vivir? Yo solo sé de una, y es junto a ti. ¿De cuántas formas te puedo decir? Todo lo que siento, lo que has hecho aquí en mí. A lo mejor sea mental, me suelo poner así. O a lo mejor sea la primavera, recordándome la vez primera que amé de esta manera. And I'm not gonna give away anything else.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Coño, Gaby de los Santos. Come on. That was awesome. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Everybody check her out online. The information is below. It'll be popping up. Support her. Get her music. Watch her videos. And Gaby, don't stop. Love you. All right? Be good.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye, Gaby.
Bye, Giovanni.